I'm Paul, a late diagnosed autistic human being from France living in the UK. This is my 3-month post-autism diagnosis update, and it feels weird to sit here and record a video because it's been a while. It's been a while since I did that. I have no natural light today. I have set up a small ring light that I got for my birthday. It's on the warmest and the lowest setting right now, otherwise it's just completely destroying my eyes. So we'll see how that goes, but hopefully it might compensate for the lack of natural light, because it's the evening right now. It's 6 o'clock, so, and I have the blinds closed. Anyway, no one cares about that. It's been 3 months since I got my autism diagnosis, so a fourth of a year. It went by so fast, I can't believe it. I've been wanting to make an update video because I feel like a lot has happened since my 7-week, let's say 2-month update that I did. Shortly after getting my diagnosis, after I came back from my trip to Sweden, which I posted a vlog about that, I started feeling like I was in burnout, autistic burnout, and I've been in burnout ever since. And I talked quite a bit about it in my Switzerland vlog, which is the last 2 videos that I posted, part 1 and part 2 of my Switzerland vlog. I talked a lot about burnout in those videos because I was really struggling, because I did this trip. I visited family in Switzerland for a week. It was a real struggle for me while being in burnout. It wasn't really a trip that I could cancel, so I did go, and I had my birthday while I was there, my 27th birthday, and basically couldn't do anything. Like, we went out once, like there was one day shortly after we arrived that we went out and did some stuff. And by went out, I mean like we went to view a flat with my in-laws, and then we went to McDonald's, and then we had a walk by the lake in the afternoon. And that was it. For the rest of the week when I was there, I couldn't do anything else because I was way too exhausted and stressed and overwhelmed. I had several meltdowns, I had panic attacks, there were multiple days where I couldn't get to sleep until early in the morning. It was a mess, and I was a mess mentally. Even like after coming back, like it took me a good week to kind of feel like myself again. I was so overwhelmed, and honestly my mental health hasn't been that bad in a long time, which made me think, like, I don't regret getting my autism diagnosis, but it has meant that I've been having the worst mental health since a long time. Like I feel like these past couple of years I had managed to get myself back on track, in the sense that I worked through a lot of trauma and came to a good place in terms of the relationships with the people in my life, and the ones that I wanted to keep, the ones I didn't want to keep, and like placing boundaries for myself, and then working on self-compassion and self-love and stuff. And I actually reached a pretty good place last year, even though I lost someone who was very dear to me, so I had a lot of grief, and I had to say goodbye to, you know, the relationship with my parents, which was very toxic, and the relationship with the person that I thought was my best friend for over 15 years. Like, I had to say goodbye to a lot of people for various reasons, but I still felt okay. And actually, I went on a trip to Spain in September. I felt confident in myself. I didn't have as much social anxiety as I usually did, and I felt like it was a success. And then obviously I started doing research about autism and got my diagnosis, and on the whole I've been feeling like shit ever since. I'm not blaming the autism diagnosis because it was obviously necessary, otherwise I wouldn't have done it. But it's just sometimes I'm like, I was doing better before I got my diagnosis, you know what I mean? I know it's I'm going through a rough patch right now, but it's for a good cause and things will get better afterwards. But I'll turn that ring light off because it's destroying my eyes right now. So the video might get really dark, but that's much better. Actually, I look terrible right now. Let me turn on, maybe I'll try turning on this candle. I could also open the blinds, but I don't know if I want to. There might be neighbors outside. I'm gonna put that, I don't know where I'm gonna put that. I'm gonna put that here. Turn these little guys on. So as I was saying, my mental health has been the worst it had been in years. Like prior to that, I would have said that period of my life where I had the worst mental health was about 4 years ago when I lived in London. I was really in the depths of despair, like suicidal. I don't know how I came out of that. Since then I had felt I hadn't been feeling too bad, you know? These past few weeks, I've had so much anxiety. Like, I'm so stressed and worried about everything. Like, every little thing sends me down a spiral. Daily life is hard to deal with, so I've had to really, since coming back from Switzerland, I've really had to make changes to my life so that I am in the right conditions to recover from this burnout. I mentioned in my vlog that I was like mentally assuming that I wasn't gonna go to Bali in 2 months to take that weight off my shoulders, and actually today we cancelled the trip, like for everyone, like me, my in-laws, for various reasons. First of all, my partner didn't feel like he wanted to go without me because it was his 30th birthday. He wanted us all to be together. He wanted to spend his birthday with me. And second of all, as I mentioned in my vlog, my in-laws are moving, and it was really stressful for them having to juggle that unexpected move right before that major trip. And so we all made a group decision to cancel the trip and maybe do something smaller, something more manageable later this summer to celebrate my partner's birthday, and then move that trip to Bali maybe next year, because next year will be my mother-in-law's 60th birthday and it will be our 10-year anniversary. So yeah, we actually cancelled everything today, and it was a huge relief for everyone, not just for me, and I'm very thankful for that, because I feel so much lighter, and I feel like that's gonna allow me to really recover from burnout, because even if I wasn't going, you know, I would have felt bad for not going and like being here alone for 2 weeks while my partner was on the other side of the planet. Like, I don't know, it wouldn't have been very nice. So I'm glad that we all came to this decision. That was a huge weight lifted off my shoulders, but that was one of the things that I decided for my own mental health and well-being. Was like, I'm not gonna go to Bali. Like, I basically tried to protect myself from anything that might trigger anxiety or negative thoughts. Like, I've been avoiding phone calls with my in-laws because that has been too much to handle for me socially, and like, I've been really trying to listen to my needs. Like, there have been days where I reach a point during the day where I'm like, okay, I've reached my limit, and it might be like the afternoon, you know, but I know that I don't have any more energy to talk or do things, and I just need to spend time alone. Like, the week after coming back from Switzerland, I was really tired mentally, and there was a day where my partner and I went for a walk and I completely shut down, didn't talk for like an hour. There were several days like that where I just suddenly felt like it was too much and I needed to go do my own thing. And I felt very dysregulated, and like a lot of, I mentioned in the past that I deal with a lot of, what is it called? Hyperventilation? Yeah, hyperventilation is my main symptom of stress or anxiety. So yeah, I just felt very dysregulated, very overwhelmed, very anxious, like a whole, I was a hot mess for a good week after coming back from Switzerland. It's been almost 2 weeks now since we came back. It will be 2 weeks tomorrow since coming back. And yeah, I've been really listening to my needs, because I've never felt so limited in terms of my mental resources and emotional resources and energy resources. And I'm feeling a bit better now. I'm feeling like a little bit more in control of my emotions and stuff. But like, I have a dentist appointment tomorrow because I have a tooth that's a bit painful, and that has been a source of stress for me because I've never been to the dentist in the UK before. I have had to handle insurance for it. I don't know what to expect. I've never been to this dentist before. Like, it's just been a lot to handle, and obviously it's something I have to deal with. I can't just go with, you know, a painful tooth and just ignore it. But just that little thing has been a lot to handle for me. Yeah, like every time I feel like a little bit more regulated, a little bit more comfortable in my own head, like something comes up that needs to be dealt with that stresses me out, like this boiler situation that we have that isn't solved yet, and our landlady wants to do an inspection next week, which is always so much stress because she's really difficult to deal with, and it's always a huge source of emotional chaos when she comes here. I'm really trying to, on a daily basis, really trying to preserve my resources so I can deal with these external things that I can't avoid. And so that means like really looking after myself, using my spoons sparingly, being like, okay, I don't have a lot of spoons today. The laundry needs to be handled. Do I really have to do it today, or can I do it tomorrow? For example, taking a shower gives me spoons more than it takes away because of sensory issues and stuff. So I shower every day. That helps. But like some other things take spoons away. So I really have to, like, someone in my comments was saying that it's all about maths almost. And it does feel like that some days. It feels like, okay, how can I, you know, this is gonna subtract spoons. How can I add more spoons? I've been really, trying to really listen to my needs. Avoid phone calls with family. Avoid, you know, like if I feel like having a conversation or going for a walk is gonna stress me out because it's gonna be overstimulating and I don't have the energy for that, then I don't do it, and instead I'll pick an activity that is more regulating, like listening to ASMR, watching a movie, reading in bed or whatever. But yeah, it's been a struggle, and I still feel very fragile mentally, like very unstable, very easily dysregulated. So we'll see how the next few weeks go. I'm trying to handle things one day at a time, one problem at a time, looking after myself as much as possible, you know, avoiding social interactions as much as possible. Like the other day there was an interaction with our neighbors that we couldn't avoid, escape. And that was a lot. It was a lot. I was in a position where I had to do chit chat. I live in a cul-de-sac, so it's a lot of neighbors all together, especially when it's, you know, the weather is better, then they all come out, and so there's a lot of neighbors talking and children playing or screaming or crying. Sometimes they throw like neighbor parties and stuff. We've declined almost every invite that we've received since moving here 2 years ago. We went to one neighbor drink thing, which was so overwhelming. We were invited at least twice to like neighborhood events, and every time at first we were like, sure, let's go, and then when the time came to go, I was like, nope. Like I had a panic response. I was like, nope, I'm not going. And that was before I knew I was autistic. So yeah, like the other day I had to do small talk with the neighbors, and they're very neurotypical, you know, like obviously like you can never assume that someone else, like you can't assume someone else's neurotype. When I say that, I mean that in a light-hearted way, but like they come across as very neurotypical, right? They always say the same things, and they're always, I don't know, it seems very repetitive. It seems very like almost like a broken record, you know? Maybe that's just their personality, not their neurotype, I don't know. But every time they say the same things, and I'm like, do we really need to be doing this? Like, and I never know how to respond. There's a lot of awkward silence, especially if my partner doesn't fill the void with stuff. Like he didn't have the energy that day to do a small talk, so like the responsibility fell on me, and I was put in a really hard situation of having to talk to both of them, not knowing what to say. And I think I ended up saying just one thing, which made them laugh, because I use humor a lot to deflect, like as part of my mask. And there was a lot of awkward silence, and then we just said bye, and it was so cringy, and I couldn't stop thinking about it afterwards. But yeah, I've been really trying to preserve my mental health and look after myself, taking a lot of time to do things that regulate my nervous system, make me feel good. This past weekend we had like a long weekend because of my partner's work. He had like a 4-day weekend, and for 2 out of those 4 days he said like, you need no mental charge, is that what it's called? You need no mental charge at all. Do whatever you want to do. I'll handle the cooking and the cleaning and everything, and you just do. And like, I realized that I never get a day off. Like I never get a day off because I'm not working technically. So I'm just, you know, doing housework. And so I'm basically doing stuff every day. There isn't like a single day of the week where I'm not doing anything productive. And by having my partner handle all that for a couple days, like that was such a breath of fresh air that I really needed. And that reminded me of what it feels like to have someone else cook for you, how nice it is to step out of the shower and smell something good cooking in the kitchen and you're not the one making it, and like being served your food and like not having to worry about anything and just doing whatever you want to do. Like I had really forgotten how good that felt, and it was really nice. And we actually decided to make that into a new habit of like, on Saturday my partner doesn't do anything, I handle everything, and then on Sunday I don't do anything, he handles everything. We'll see if we manage to keep that habit, because we're really bad at starting new habits and keeping them in the long run. But I hope we do, because I think it could really make a really big positive impact on my mental health, just having that one day of the week where I don't have that mental charge of like doing stuff around the house basically. I've also been reminded a lot in the last few weeks of like how much space my trauma takes up in my life and how much I need to work on when it comes to that. I spent the best part of the last 4-5 years working on my trauma, you know, realizing all the ways in which my family abused me. Realizing it was the first step, and then putting boundaries in place, and then like rephrasing a lot of beliefs, false beliefs that I had about myself, about my family, and about life in general. So that was a lot, and I did that through a lot of therapy. I talked to 6 different therapists in the last 8 years total, and read a lot of books on the subject and tried to do and watched some, you know, YouTube videos. So I've been doing a lot of work on trauma, and last year I did a 4-month therapy with the NHS on my trauma. That taught me a lot about self-compassion and stuff, which I really needed, because I was really hard on myself before, like never feeling like I was doing enough, like I was enough, like always feeling like self-care was a temporary thing, and then I needed to go back to real life and like be productive and bring money home, and it wasn't working because I was struggling with it and then feeling bad for struggling with it, and it was just a vicious cycle, and it was keeping me perpetually depressed, not loving myself. So I had to do a lot of work on that. It's better now, but I've realized in the last few weeks, especially with this trip to Switzerland, that I still have a lot of trauma to work through, because I still have a lot of unresolved stuff when it comes to my parents, and like needing validation, needing like that need that I have for people to understand and see my pain, I think is a little bit unhealthy. And it's not just coming from, you know, being autistic and wanting people to understand. It goes deeper than that, and it's very painful. And because my in-laws haven't been able to give me that, I've been feeling really hurt. And I know it wouldn't hurt so bad if it wasn't linked to some trauma that I have from my parents constantly invalidating me and ignoring my emotions, or like gaslighting me, or so I have a lot of trauma to work through still, and maybe more than I thought. And of course this burnout and stuff, and now I have a clearer-ish idea of the ways in which autism makes my life difficult. So I'm looking for a therapist. At first I was like, I want a neurodivergent therapist, like I want an autistic therapist, because only they can understand. And then I realized how difficult it is to find an autistic therapist who has availability for online sessions and whom my insurance can cover and stuff. So I'm less picky now. I'm looking for like neurodivergent, affirming therapists, and it's been really difficult. I've contacted quite a few. Most of them got back to me saying they either don't accept insurance or they are fully booked, and then a portion of them haven't got back to me yet. So I don't know, I thought it would be easier than that. I guess there's a lot of demand out there, and I'm both happily surprised to see that there are so many therapists out there in the UK who are aware of neurodivergence and autism and stuff, but at the same time I can tell that a lot of them use it almost as like advertising to try and get as many clients as possible, but they don't really know much about it. Some of them do, and like you can tell the difference in the description on their website, if they go in depth about how they have experience with neurodivergence, and like you can tell from the words they use if they know about it or not. Like if they start talking about Asperger's or like it being a disorder or a problem. I read on the website of a therapist that like autism was a mental health difficulty. I was like, you know, it's not a mental health problem, right? It can cause mental health problems, but it isn't a mental health problem. Like you read that and you're like, no. Like I'm gonna go to this person and they're supposed to know what I'm talking about when I share my struggles as an autistic person. No. So yeah, it's been difficult finding the right ones and then finding ones that are available and then that my partner's insurance covers and stuff. Like it's a struggle, but I'll get there eventually. I know I need that help, that support, professional support. But I already feel a lot better knowing that the trip to Bali has been cancelled and I don't have that worry at the back of my mind constantly, and like being able to take as much time as I need to recover and not have so many demands, because there was also a lot of stuff around the trip that was stressing me out a lot, like getting travel vaccinations and all of that, and all the preparations we had to do ahead of the trip and stuff, and all that has been taken away and it feels so much better. And now I don't have to worry so much about like, will I be able to, you know, like having that ticking clock in my head of like, I've got 2 months left, will I be able to handle it? No, like I can take as much time as I need. I'm really looking forward to having that tooth problem taken care of, and that, you know, all the stuff with our boiler and our landlord property inspection. And once that's all taken care of, I'll be able to breathe a bit more easily. But in the meantime, I'll keep looking after myself. We've been rewatching the Harry Potter movies, and then before that we did a Sherlock marathon, so that was really fun. And we've been playing games, and I started reading Game of Thrones for the first time. Like I'm really focusing on doing things that make me feel good, like really listening to my needs and being non-judgmental about it. Like it's okay if today's Wednesday, I haven't been able to do yoga any day this week so far, and that's okay. I haven't been leaving the house much, because when I do, I get easily overstimulated by the sounds, by the outside world, and that's okay. Just doing whatever I need to do to feel more regulated. Yeah, so I'll keep doing that, and hopefully that burnout won't last too long. Hopefully my mental health will improve soon, and I will find a therapist who understands autistic struggles, and yeah, I'm gonna try not to worry too much about all this, because as Newt Scamander says, worrying is suffering twice, something like that. And my cat just decided to start scratching at the same time. Okay, he's done. I am filming this video out of the blue. I'm sorry the lighting isn't great. It's the end of the day, close to 6 p.m. I usually film more in the mornings. This is the second time in a row where I'm filming a video in the evening, so that's new. I have a fidget in case you're wondering what that sound is. I just thought I'd pick up the camera because I was watching a video about dysregulation and stuff like that, and I don't know, I just felt like video journaling, which is basically what most of my channel is about. It started as me grabbing my camera one day to record myself while talking to myself, and then I decided to post it online, and then other people related to it, and so I kept making those videos. But that's basically the whole concept of my channel. So I filmed a video the other day and I haven't edited it yet. It was like a 3-month post-diagnosis update video, and I just haven't had the energy or the motivation to edit it yet, and I'm not sure I'm like super happy with it in terms of I'm not sure I was able to put how I was feeling into words, and like I thought maybe I would try to film again and maybe it will turn out to be a better version of that video and I'll post this instead of the other one. So it's gonna be 3 weeks this week since I came back from Switzerland. Basically all I've been doing is trying to stay afloat, trying to keep my head out of the water, trying to survive, basically. That's what these past 3 weeks have been about. I really needed to clear my life, clear my mind, and remove anything that wasn't absolutely essential. But I've just been struggling so much mentally and emotionally these past few weeks. I'm realizing how much alexithymia and poor interoception, play a role in my life and are a big struggle for me. I guess at first, you know, the autistic traits you hear about the most are, you know, sensory issues and social issues and stimming, special interest and stuff, and you don't hear people talk about the emotional side of things too much. Lately, that's what I've been struggling with the most. Like I've had lots of meltdowns and like my emotions have been all over the place, major mood swings, major anxiety, depression symptoms. I've been feeling really low, and of course there are, like, it's not a constant thing. There are ups and downs. There are days that are better than others or moments during the day that are better than others, but overall I've just been struggling a lot, and I've been really focusing on the bare minimum, the essentials, to just stay alive. At this point I don't feel like I'm really living. I feel like I'm surviving, and it's been hard. So the things that I've been doing to accommodate my needs during this burnout is I have limited contact with family, namely my in-laws, because I just don't have the energy for socializing. So usually we'll call them once every few days, at times like once a day, even when we're really actively talking to them or whatever. And since we came back almost 3 weeks ago, I've actively taken part in just one phone call with my in-laws, and then there were a couple others where I just listened because I don't have the energy. And the one time that I did participate, it caused me so much anxiety, overstimulation. I was like, whoa, I'm not ready for this. So yeah, I've been taking a break from family socializing and stuff. It's getting a bit better now, but at first, after coming back from Switzerland, like just hanging out with my partner was too much, which I've never experienced before ever since we've been together. We've been together for almost 8.5 years, and I've never experienced being overstimulated by my partner like that. And I know it's because I'm in burnout, so it's a bit better now. But there were days where I really had to be strategic with my energy or my spoons, because like I was so tired and dysregulated that just having a conversation, or I don't know, just the smallest thing could trigger a huge emotional response in me. And like I was really struggling with like panic attacks and major anxiety and major mood swings and things like that. It was really difficult. So I had to really be smart about how I spent my days and the things I subjected myself to. And now I feel a little bit more regulated, meaning I'm not constantly hyperventilating, and I'm not constantly, you know, feeling like crying, or like, it's a little bit easier to manage my emotions and my anxiety and stuff. I just don't feel so out of whack like I did a couple weeks ago, where I was like, I felt like I had absolutely no control over my nervous system, over my emotions. It was a little bit scary, but I made it. I've been relying heavily on like calming videos and audio, ASMR. Like, it's probably the most effective way for me to relax. And so I've been listening to a lot of ASMR, not just at night, which is what I always do, but like during the day. And like while cleaning, while playing video games, sometimes even like while watching something on Netflix. So like I've been really relying on ASMR and calming videos and stuff because I am very sensitive to sounds, and when I'm dysregulated like that, it's very easy for me to get very stressed, very affected by fast, loud sounds, you know? So yeah, I've been listening to a lot of calming stuff, and it's really helped. Like, sometimes it's the only thing that can help me relax. Sometimes if I'm like in the middle of a panic attack or stuff like that, it doesn't even help, but we'll say 90% of the time it helps, even just a little bit. Like, I will be like hyperventilating, I have no idea how to start breathing normally again. I'll start listening to ASMR, and after 15-20 minutes I start realizing that my body is relaxing and my breathing is relaxing, and it's just magical. So I don't know what I would do without it if I didn't have ASMR. Like relaxing content, like people cooking, people, you know, videos in nature, videos that showcase animals and things like that. And just, I avoid videos of like that are emotionally charged or that are fast and loud with people talking about stressful subjects. So I've been trying to do yoga. It's been hard, like the past week I haven't done any yoga, but when I can, I try to. Like, going for walks isn't always helpful because we basically live in a cul-de-sac, and then there's a main road right as you exit the cul-de-sac. Basically, no matter where you go, you have to be on that main road for at least a few minutes, and it's always busy. There's always a bunch of cars, and it's very noisy and very overstimulating, especially right now with my burnout. So obviously I don't leave the house without my loops, but still sometimes it can be, I'm like, it would be nice to leave the house and walk and get some fresh air, but the price I have to pay for that sometimes is higher, and I come back feeling more dysregulated than before and more stressed than before. I definitely, if we lived in quieter surroundings, like if we lived in nature and like if it wasn't so stimulating to leave the house, I would go on a walk every day for sure, and it would help a lot. But it's not always a good option here. But I'm realizing how often I just have no clue what I'm feeling, either in terms of like sensations in my body, like not really knowing. Like sometimes I'll feel bad and I'll feel like, you know, uncomfortable, and I'm like, I don't know if it means I have to eat, I don't know if it means I'm sick, I don't know if it means I'm stressed. Like sometimes, like I might think I'm stressed or anxious, but actually I just need food, or you know. So there's that. And then the emotional side of things, the alexithymia, such a hard word to pronounce. Not knowing what emotions I'm feeling, I struggle with that a lot as well. And of course the rigid black and white thinking can be difficult to handle as well. and the anxiety, the catastrophizing. Like yesterday, for example, yesterday afternoon, I felt very distressed. I had no idea why. I just had like, I felt very depressed, felt very anxious. I was just like nothing, I couldn't focus on anything, you know. And then I started talking to my partner, like, I was able to finally put my feelings into words, because I feel like sometimes I'll go several days feeling bad, not knowing why, and then finally something clicks and I'm like, or maybe I just intellectualize it, I don't know, and I'm like, oh, this is why I've been feeling that way. And like externalizing it helps a lot. So I started talking to my partner and I started talking about how bad I feel about not being able to find my place in this world, in this society, feeling like I am not fit for this world, feeling like I'll never feel like I belong, you know, and feeling like I'm so different from everybody, and feeling like from the capitalistic society that we live in, feeling like a failure from the perspective of society again, because I'm 27 and I'm not employed, I'm not making money, I'm not bringing money home, and like how that makes me feel like a failure, even though the fact that I'm not working isn't my choice. It's just because my disability makes it so that I can't work. God knows I tried. Like yesterday I was like, and then I started crying and I was like, I feel like there's no way out for me. Like I can't see a future for myself where I can be a functioning adult and be financially independent and contribute to our lives financially. And like when we have kids, like having to rely entirely on my partner, and like what that says about me in a society that considers me as female. And so like those stereotypes of like being the woman who doesn't work, and like being a stay-at-home mom or whatever, and like all these things, and I'm like, that's not the life I wanted for myself. I don't have anything against like stay-at-home moms or anything like that, but it's just like, if it's what you choose, then great, you're living your best life. But for me, it's not what I wanted, it's not what I chose, it's what I'm ending up with because of my disability. Like the only support that I could claim potentially from the government here in the UK, I haven't had the energy or the motivation to apply for it, because they make it so hard to access, the way you apply for it, and then the whole process, and how hard it is emotionally, and like almost humiliating, having to, like, it's as if it wasn't enough not being able to function in this society, but also like then having to explain to strangers why you're not able to function, and why they should pity you enough that they give you scraps every month basically to survive off of. And all these things, I've been thinking a lot about all this since Dana Anderson posted a video recently about the idea of success in this society, and how, you know, she doesn't fit that and maybe never will, and like that she feels like she has no solution because she hasn't done any higher education, and the higher education costs too much, so she can't access it, and like she can't work either, so like she's kind of stuck in this situation. And although my situation is different from hers, and I'm more blessed in the sense that I have my partner who works full-time, I live a pretty comfortable life, materially speaking, and I feel very blessed. I feel more, you know, in that sense, I'm definitely more privileged than someone like Dana, but I still strongly related to what she said because we're the same age and we're both higher support needs, I would say. I definitely don't feel like, and yeah, like she was saying how most of the autistic content creators she sees online aren't necessarily relatable because they're successful in a capitalistic point of view of like being able to work and make money and like be famous or whatever, like Chloe Hayden, for example, and how she didn't feel represented by people like that, and so she wanted to make a video saying how there are a lot of autistic people like her who aren't able to be successful, and that we exist, and probably that's the majority of us really, because 70 or 80% of autistic people in the UK don't work, so most of us are just broke. And so I thought that was really cool, and I definitely feel I feel the same way, in the sense that I feel like a lot of the autistic people I watch on YouTube, because I'm not on TikTok, and I don't really watch stuff on Instagram, so the only place really where I watch content is on YouTube, and most of the creators I watch are what you would say successful. They are able to make a living from YouTube or somewhere else. They're like, self-employed, whatever. They have family, they have like, and it's true that I also, like Dana, don't recognize myself in a lot of these people, and sometimes it can make you feel like you're doing something wrong. I've been thinking a lot about that and how I need to accept that maybe I'll never really be able to work. Maybe I'll never really be able to make my own money, and maybe I will. Who knows? But if it doesn't happen, I just can't continue beating myself up over it, because it's not something I can really control. So, but it's a kind of, it involves a lot of grief, acceptance. It's part of the post-diagnosis process, Something else she was talking about that often comes up about autistic people is how we're somehow like not allowed to feel good or like be happy, like that there's this expectation that autistic people have miserable lives all the time, and whenever they're having an easier time or happier time, then they're not autistic. Like, you're only allowed to struggle if you're autistic. Dana was talking about that too a while ago, of like whenever she had a good social experience, for example, a successful social interaction, for example, that she felt like somehow she had her impostor syndrome telling her that maybe she wasn't autistic after all. There's this expectation, this idea that we are supposed to struggle all the time. And I definitely felt that the other day when I went to a dentist appointment. I was so stressed. I was such a ball of nerves. And then it went really well. I ended up not needing anything done because it turned out it was just a sensitive tooth or whatever. And the dentist was really nice. She knew that I was autistic because I had to fill out a form in advance, and they literally asked in the form if you had a neurodivergence or something. So I said I was autistic, I was anxious, and so when I arrived, she acknowledged that I was anxious, and my partner could be in the room with me, and it went really well. And I felt so comfortable. I even did a bit of small talk where I told her like how thorough the examination was compared to how it is in France, and like how, that I expressed gratitude basically. And I was like, whoa, did I just do that? Did I just say that? And like 15 minutes ago, I was feeling like I was about to throw up because I was so nervous. And I came out of the dentist feeling so good about myself and so empowered that I was able to overcome my anxiety and go to the appointment, and that it went well. And I was even able to have like what you would call a successful interaction, even though half the time I wasn't looking her in the eye. But I felt so relieved, and so like I had like such a rush of like adrenaline and like good feelings, you know. And that triggered my imposter syndrome. And I was like, damn it, I'm not allowed to have a positive experience and still be autistic. And I've been struggling with my imposter syndrome ever since, because I was like, well, if I could have this interaction with this dentist, then I don't have any struggles. Like, and that's ridiculous, obviously, but I don't know, that got me thinking. So I just wanted to talk about all that on here. I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna keep trying to look after myself, trying to find ways to get out of that burnout as soon as possible without putting pressure on myself. Or I mentioned that in a video before, but our housing situation isn't great because we don't have the best landlord, and we've been meaning to move out for like 2 years basically since we moved here. And how my mental health has prevented us from doing so, which makes me feel guilty because I feel like because of me we're stuck here, and I want to leave because every time we have an interaction with our landlady it is so stressful because she's a very toxic person, and it's difficult for us to have social interactions to begin with because of autism and stuff. It's not good for our mental health to stay here having to deal with this person, but at the same time I just haven't been mentally able to bring myself to move and like do all the steps to move to a different place. And like, it's been difficult for me to make decisions, it's been difficult to plan things, my executive functioning skills haven't been great, it's difficult for me to focus. And like, if you add onto that, you add all the emotional struggles, and like, that's been something else that I've had to deal with, is this feeling of like being stuck in an uncomfortable situation that I can't get out of. But we're slowly figuring it out, and hopefully we will move out in the next few months, but we'll see. I've had to really accept that I'm not doing well, and that it's okay for me to ask for help and rely on my support system, aka my partner. But I've had to let go of a lot of guilt, always feeling like I'm a burden and like I'm taking advantage of people or like using them, which I'm clearly not. But like that feeling of like not deserving or like not trying hard enough, like we all know what that feels like. I had to let go of a lot of that and like accept that actually sometimes you do need help, and if the other person is willing to give it to you, then it's okay to accept it. So I'm working on that and just generally trying to get better, trying to get my nervous system regulated, try to improve my mental health a bit, because the anxiety and the depression has been crazy. So no therapist on the horizon for now, but I'm trying to get by on my own. Well, not on my own, I've got my partner supporting me, but like been trying to do the work on my own mentally. I want to say 90% of the time I have no clue what I'm experiencing, and I have no clue what's going on in my head, and it doesn't make it easy. And yeah, that's what I've been struggling a lot with, that, like being lost, basically, like being like, I have no clue what's going on, I have no clue what to do about it. But I'm taking it one day at a time, dealing with things one at a time. Like, in my head I was like, okay, first I have to deal with this dentist situation, dealt with that, gone, that's one less thing to worry about. Then I have to focus on that boiler situation because our boiler wasn't working, so we had to have someone come and fix it. That was taken care of today, I can tick that off my list. Now I focus on our landlady because she wants to do a property inspection, and that's very stressful. And so like now I'm focusing on this, and then it's out of the way, and then I can focus on something else, and like trying to focus on one thing at a time, trying to keep my anxiety under control, just keep on going. That's all I can do at this point. It's not about thriving, it's about existing right now. It's been, I want to say, about a month and a half to 2 months since I've been in burnout. They say it typically lasts over 3 months. I'm hoping it doesn't last too long, but realistically, the only thing I have planned in the near future, or not really planned, but like the things that ideally we would have to take care of in the near future is a move. But other than that, we don't really have any big plans, and that I think is gonna help me recover mentally. Being able to take as much time as I need to recover and not be like, oh, I need to be ready for this. I don't know where I'm gonna take this channel in the future. Like I only make these videos when I feel like it, when I feel like I have the motivation, the energy to film these videos, and I actually have something to say. Lately, I feel like the only thing I've had the energy for is like these kinds of vlogs where I just talk about how I'm feeling, what's been going on. I don't really have the energy for like more scripted or planned videos about a certain topic. This is it. I'm just gonna post whenever I post. I don't want to make promises to myself or anybody else that I can't keep. I'm just gonna keep uploading whenever I feel like it, and hopefully my videos continue to help people out there every time I post. Even when I post videos that I'm not particularly happy with or that I think will be pretty useless, there's always at least one person commenting saying how grateful they are and how relatable my videos are, and so that makes me want to keep going. Thanks for watching, commenting, subscribing. I have a Ko-fi account in case you'd like to support my channel monetarily. I'll see you in my next video. Bye!